Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of November 21st to the 27th of 2022. Alright, so this week we have a new moon around Wednesday, which means we are finishing up the current lunar cycle, which perhaps has been quite transformative and deep, being an eclipse lunar month. So as we do approach Wednesday, perhaps finalizing things of this transformative lunar month, creating some space, releasing things. It's a good time to let the energies die down and do a bit of a reset, let some things go as well, in order to create space for these new beginnings. And the new moon does look more on the easier side of things collectively. It's going to be right in between Libra, the constellation of balance, and Scorpio, the constellation of depth. And so new beginning here, and all in all, it's going to be, again, more on the easier side, trining up to expansive Jupiter, trining up to receptive Neptune, and sextiling more transformative Pluto. So easier aspects there. This is also about the time of the week where Jupiter is going to go station direct, starting his roughly 7-month transit of being direct, expanding our horizons, thinking big about things, perhaps even seeing some opportunities over that time period. It is in watery Pisces, so it is fundamentally about what's important to us on a soul level here. All right, then all in all, the aspects are kind of spread out throughout the week. Early in the week, we have Mercury conjunct Venus, so perhaps some learning and interest in those relationships can be great. And then over the weekend, we do have those pair of planets trining up to healing Chiron. So there could be some easy healing or just feeling a bit rejuvenated there, especially as we go into Saturday with the moon passing over the galactic center and going into expansive Sagittarius. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, November 21st. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology, which does not use the visible sky. Instead, they use a man-made system, usually, especially in the West, where it is based on an even 30 degrees for each of the signs and not necessarily referencing the sky. So we are taking into account the actual sizes of the constellations as they're seen visibly, and so the signs do change. If you are new to the channel, definitely check out that link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, so all in all, this week is a new moon week. We're going to be having that new moon here around Wednesday, and then again, we are finalizing this current eclipse lunar cycle as we do approach that. All in all, the aspects do look more on the neutral or easier side of things, collectively speaking. But of course, it's always good to challenge ourselves, especially this early part of the week, as again, we are still ending this more transformative eclipse month, and we are going to be still coming off a bit of this Mars square Neptune from last week, which is perhaps a bit of that clash between the fiery side and the watery side of life. But yeah, let's do a bit of a recap coming into this week just to see where everything is. We do have the Mercury and Venus conjunction, which is going to be here right at the beginning of the week on Monday, and they're in deep Scorpio where they transitioned last week. So it is a great week all week long for really more of this Scorpio energy, especially because the sun is going to shift into this constellation around that new moon on Wednesday. And so it's all about connecting to depth, the deeper side of life. Venus is helping us enjoy it and connect there, perhaps in our relationships. And Mercury, thinking this way, really good for research or uncovering deep stuff right now and deeper communications as well. So this pair is going to be conjunct here on Monday, and so very good early part of the week here for doing that, combining a bit of that mental and communicative energy of Mercury with relational Venus and enjoyment Venus. So this could be read a few ways. One is we could be enjoying perhaps some of the Mercury stuff, learning, thinking, communication, writing, mental activities, and the other way around, perhaps bringing in some of that mental energy into our relating life, into connecting with others, or anything that it is, again, that we can be enjoying there. So nice combination between the mind and the relational side of things, communication and relational side of things, really suggesting a nice step in the right direction. And again, all in the context of depth, right? Truth, and perhaps in those relationships, trust, intimacy, vulnerability, right? This more deeper connection both to ourselves, to our lives, and to our relationships is especially good at the moment. And again, especially as the sun transitions there into just after that new moon on Wednesday into Scorpio. All right, and Mars is still doing his slow and steady thing up and through really early next year, while Mars is retrograde until January 13th in grounded Taurus. And so our fiery side, our needs, our assertiveness, our desires, really going through a reworking process. And so it's good to allow this time to reflect on who we are, what we want, things of this nature, and really just take things slowly. Taurus, the bull, it's all about taking things one step at a time, and it's very important we do that, especially while Mars is here. Okay, and that Mars is going to be easing up off of a more watery or lost or lower energy kind of feeling that we had from last week. This was fiery Mars clashing up to watery and receptive Neptune. So this has definitely gotten easier since the late last week, but it is still an orb, as you can see, within 1 degree coming into this week. So still anything early this week that is about combining that fire with the water, right? So our needs, our assertiveness, our drive, our goals towards things that are more present moment, more spiritual, more unconditional, more willing to go with the flow, right? Live presently, these kinds of things. The fire and the soul, the ego and the unconscious, the ego and the spiritual, right? Anything that's been good to integrate there so there's more balance with these things, again, is still great this early part of the week. Now, the moon will be in Virgo here on Monday, and so even up until about early Tuesday. So good to perhaps finalize things from the cycle, and again, specifically in the context of Virgo, because this is what this whole lunar cycle was activating. Virgo, the constellation of improvement and striving towards perfection and getting into the details of things in our work and service. And so anything on that level, again, is really good to finalize here this week. And Monday and Tuesday, while the moon is here, could be particularly emphasizing that. All right, a little bit of expansive Jupiter energy coming into the week. Sun trine Jupiter a little bit, maybe a bit open-minded, but again, probably more in the context of the Mercury and Venus is the strongest energy there, without a doubt, on Monday. Again, combining the mental and relational, and the mental with the enjoyments of life. All right, and then as we start to get into the Tuesday time period, again, we'll still have that improvement nature of Virgo, but and again, good to finalize that, but we're going to likely start to feel that new moon energy, especially by the later part of Tuesday, once the moon does shift into balancing Libra. So the new moon will be on Wednesday, and again, it is a reset. It is the ending of the current cycle, and anything that is good to, again, complete or finalize things is fantastic. Perhaps specifically on late Tuesday and into early Wednesday, particularly in the context of bringing balance to our life. This is Libra, the scales, and the new moon will be in between that, bringing balance into things with Libra, and also that deeper Scorpio that we're talking about. So I'll make a separate video, of course, on the new moon, but essentially it is about bringing more balance, bringing more depth, realness, rawness into our lives, and anything that is on that intention is fantastic. All in all, it's going to be on the easier side of things. It will be trining up to Jupiter, Neptune slightly, and so there could be a bit of open-mindedness, a bit of buoyancy. With Neptune, a bit of receptivity, willingness to go with the flow, especially now that we're coming off of this Mars square Neptune, where we learned some lessons about that last week, right? This kind of thing. Okay, and a sextile to Pluto, nothing major there, but a bit of depth could be a bit easier. In fact, Venus could be helping us enjoy, again, some of that deeper energy anyways. All right, and the sun, again, will be shifting into Scorpio for almost a full month of the Scorpio and Ophiuchus energies as we go into the Gregorian December here. And so, again, focusing on what really matters in life, focusing on really uncovering the deeper world. This is the time of the year where we're just naturally focused on all the things that are normally hidden in life. And so it is good to set any intentions around illuminating and bringing things out from the hidden to the light, to the surface, which is, again, personally in our lives or interpersonally in our relationships. All right, so that's definitely the most important part of the week here. And then as we do get to the, slowly to the later part of the week, we're just slowly building momentum in this new lunar cycle, and life supporting us and trying new things and getting our feet wet with new things there. Jupiter is going to be going station direct on Wednesday for his next 7 months roughly. And so things involving whatever you've been perhaps a little more open-minded about 4 months ago and prior. So basically the early to middle part of this year, if there was anything that you're hopeful about, inspired about, maybe saw some opportunities about, these could be coming back or starting to get more implemented and concretized as Jupiter is now slowly moving direct. Do give it a time, of course, weeks, even months, for him to build his momentum. But we could see a shift with that here around Wednesday. And this is going to be the Jupiter in Pisces. So collectively for all of us, it is about bringing in, again, more peace into our life and more receptivity. So again, anything on that level is fantastic there. All right, once we do get to this late Friday into, well, let's actually talk about here just Friday in general. So Friday we're still going to be involved with some of that deeper energy, as I was saying, with the moon in Scorpio. And then that'll be also into a fucus on Friday in particular. So again, really getting to the deeper side of that new moon. But it's going to be, I think, easier to do so because that pairing of Mercury and Venus is going to be in a nice harmony with healing Chiron. And usually these trines up to Chiron just make it feel a bit rejuvenated. Perhaps we feel a bit healed, a bit transformed. But that's going to be especially the case as we come out of those trines and the moon does pass over the galactic center here about midday on Friday for most of us. So the galactic center is that very transformative part of the sky, and especially when the moon transits through here, it really signifies the transition from the deeper world, which we'll still be involved with, of course. We have all these planets here, but emotionally at the very least, kind of coming out of that cocoon a little bit, coming out of that deeper energy a little bit, and starting to get into that more free-spirited energy of Sagittarius. And so that'll be for the rest of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Post-transformation, a little more of that open-mindedness, that kind of butterfly or phoenix rising out of the ashes, or butterfly out of the cocoon energy that Sagittarius symbolizes here. Okay, but anything specifically around Friday that maybe is healing, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or emotional, could be great to set some intentions with there. All right, and that's pretty much it. As we do get into next week, this Mars retrograde is going to be forming that second trine up to Saturn, where he already trined when he was direct. And so just noticing into next week that there could be some productive energy. It would be easier to focus on more long-term things. That planet of Mars, the fiery, what we want now energy, is going to be in good harmony to Saturn, the planet of patience and the long-term view. Okay, and so that'll be mostly next week, but anything around the weekend that does align that fire with the long-term view, I think is fantastic. All right, everyone, so that is the week in a nutshell. Most important thing is this new moon around Wednesday, still ending the previous lunar cycle, still this very transformative, still this challenging energy as well. Mars squared Neptune. The ending phase is usually a bit challenging if we're not willing to kind of go within or do spiritual stuff or kind of do a bit of a reset or let things go. But any intentions around that is fantastic to, again, complete, release, clear. As we do create these new beginnings slowly, just slowly building momentum the later part of the week, but all in the context of bringing in more balance of Libra, and particularly more depth with Scorpio, with all these planets here. Mercury and Venus will be next to each other this week, pretty much all week, but early in the week especially. And so learning and communication could be enjoyable, and perhaps just a bit of that mental energy there, communicative energy in those relationships. Could be a new beginning there, new values there in that context. All right, and then a little bit of that deeper energy coming out of that new moon that we can perhaps do some healing with, or just be a little bit more feeling more rejuvenated, especially once we get to that weekend. Okay, and Jupiter going direct this week moves forward some of these things we could have been open-minded about earlier in the year, starting to move forward for the coming months. All right, so everyone, have a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter where you do get these videos released first before YouTube. There's a link down below to sign up for that. But again, have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.